Hello everyone, welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is June the 26th of 2023. It is a Monday, and I am feeling it. It is a Monday. Again, at least according to their calendars. Ooh, my volume is way too loud. Ooh, alright, there we go. Today is going to be Ezekiel chapter 46. We are finishing this out. We have been hearing a lot about the measurements of the temple. We've been hearing a lot about the priests that are the sacrifices that they are going to have to make, the offerings that they are going to have to do. So this one is probably going to be the same. Not too much true teaching other than just things that they are going to be doing after the temple is built and what they're going to have to do. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I don't have too many other things to really talk about today. It was a weekend. Do you need to hear my weekend? Yeah, it was a weekend. That's all I could say. It just seemed like it was really, really long, and we accomplished nothing. So there you go. How's that for you? That's all the weekends that you have. Whenever you it feels like you accomplish something, it goes really quick. But we accomplished absolutely nothing, and it went by super fast. Yeah. All right. Anyways. Sorry, it has been a weekend, and I'm not sleeping. I'm eating more than I was, but it's still a thing. It's like I said, whenever we finish Ezekiel, I'm going to be taking a week, probably 2 weeks. If I'm gone for a month, I'm gone for a month. Don't freak out. But I need to focus my prayers, focus my energies, focus my strength upon the things in my life. Get myself back to some kind of a square. So like I said, once I finish Ezekiel, I'm going to be taking some time off to focus on myself, like I said. Because something's going on. Something's going on in this house. It's affecting everybody. And we need to get it back to some kind of square. Alright, anyways, Ezekiel chapter 46. Let's pray to the Father that He gives us whatever teachings and blessings that He chooses to give us today. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate, and the priests shall prepare his burnt offering, and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, and the gate shall not be shut until the evening. Likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before the Lord in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto the Lord in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish. And the meat offering shall be an ephah for a ram, and the meat offering for the lambs as he shall be able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And in the day of the new moon it shall be a young bullock without blemish, and 6 lambs and a ram, they shall be without blemish. And he shall prepare a meat offering, an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs according to his hand, as his hand, and for the lambs according as his hand shall attain unto, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And when the prince shall enter, he shall go in by the way of the porch of that gate, and he shall go forth by the way thereof. Got a little tongue-tied there. So again, this is about offerings. This is about offerings and sacrifices made to the temple. It's going to be one of those chapters. But that's okay. Because like I said, maybe there's something else to it. Maybe it's not just about physically walking into the temple and physically sacrificing goats and rams and all this stuff, and physically giving all these things. Yes, that is going to be a part of it. Yes, we can take the Bible literally. But also, maybe it is a reference to something of your body. Maybe it's a reference to something in the sky. I don't know. Remember, he told us that there would be signs in the sky for those that needed to see it. But that he would also put signs in the sky so that we would know. Maybe this is some kind of a consolation thing. I don't know. I'm just throwing this stuff out there. There's a reason why we're reading it. A lot of people will look at that and say, oh no, the sacrifices, we're not going to have to worry about that stuff anymore. Well, your Bible says you will. So you're going to have to know how these things work. At the same time, maybe there's something else. I don't know. This concept of the new moon thing, whenever it comes up, there's a lot of people that they want to argue what a new moon is. Whether it is whenever the moon is completely black and it starts its cycle over again, or whether it's a full moon and it starts the cycle over again. I haven't gone too far into it. I've scratched the surface of it. From both perspectives, I could say new moon. But the Bible says he created two lights in the sky. One the rule of day, one the rule of night. Now, when he created that light in the sky, it had to have been full. That was a full moon. That was a light in the sky. That was a new moon. I don't know. We'll look it up too. But it was a new moon when he created it. And this world is so backwards. This world is so backwards. Why not? It doesn't take much to change the names of things. It doesn't even take that long either. What if we're calling new moons and full moons? What if we're calling them wrong? Just throwing that out. I'm not saying it's true and it's not true. I'm just saying that maybe there's something else to it. Maybe there's really something else to it. Let's read it again, starting from the top. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened. That is the way that they say that God will come from. So he will come into the temple on the Sabbath day. But on the Sabbath day it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon shall it be opened. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my concordance up here. I'm a little rough and tight right now. I actually went outside and did some serious stretching. The new moon, by implication, a monthly new moon. It doesn't say the lunar month. The first day of the month. The new moon month. Alright, here you go. You ready for it? I've actually had people disagree with me with this because they don't like the concept of a 13-month calendar. They hate it. They can't stand it. Oh, 13 months. What are you doing? Well, there were 12 sons and one father. There were 12 disciples and one Christ. 13 is not a bad number. It really isn't. There are 13 signs of the zodiac if you want to go that far. We don't have to believe in astrology, but there are images in the sky. Your Bible even kind of half references. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people will say, the whatever will be inside of the virgin and all this stuff, and they want to look at the signs and say, hey, look, that's exactly what it is. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was something else. I'm sure it's what it was. I'm just saying, though. Anyways, a lot of people get all wrapped up on that. And it's like, well, you know what? There are 13 signs. The only reason that there are 12 is because a man came along and made this confusing-ass calendar that we have now of 30 days, 31 days, 28 days, doing this weird, crazy cycle of a yearly calendar of 365 days. But I've already said the lunar month, which is a monthly, what do you want to call it? It's a monthly calendar. Let's just go with it. Anyways, the moon, the feminine, cycles over every 28 days. 28 times 13 is 364. That's 13 months. It's not just the Bible. It's not just Hebrews. It's not just the Israelites. It's a lot of other cultures back in the day used to use a 13-month calendar. It used to be there. They used to follow the moon. We talk about it all the time. We live in a perfect calendar. It's not completely perfect now. It is off by one day. And I've said before that the one day came because, hey, the sun and the moon stopped for a day. The clock kind of got flipped off of its axis just a little bit. But the sun counts the days, the moon counts the months, and the stars count the years. It's a clock. It's a perfect clock. How does a magical big bang, for no reason whatsoever, create a perfect calendar? But yes, the calendar's off by a day. Why is the calendar off by a day? Well, again, like I said, there are two places in the Bible. One place where it says that the sun and the moon were held still for a whole day. And there's another place where it says that the sun was pulled back 10 degrees on the sundial. That's your day and a half. Or day and a quarter, I should say. 365 and 1/4 days. That's why we have to have a leap year every February. So that they can reset the clock. Because it's slightly off. That's what it is. Anyways. So the new moon monthly, but it doesn't say what the new moon is. Because we call a new moon the dark moon, where there's supposedly no light in it whatsoever, or on it whatsoever, we call that a new moon. Well, that doesn't have to be a new moon. It could just be an empty moon. It could be a full moon. Because again, like I said, when God created the moon, it was a light in the sky. It was full. So that was the new moon. So what if we have it backwards? What if it's always been backwards? See, we don't know. Say, a lot of people will argue for one way, and a lot of people will argue for another way. And the simple fact is, we don't truly know. We have a lot of books that will say one thing, and we have a lot of people that will say one thing, and we have a lot of this that'll say one thing. And you have to remember these controllers that are in charge, they have had more than 200 plus years to be able to take every single thing that you ever knew and completely flip it on its head. Nothing you know is real. Nothing. It could all just be made up garbage. Every single bit of it. And so we have to use discernment and everything. So in the day of the new moon, it shall be opened. So every month, it shall be opened. Verse 2, and the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of that gate, and the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, and the gate shall not be shut until the evening. So basically it's saying the prince doesn't even get to enter into the inner court. He comes in through the east gate, but he doesn't get to enter. He has to stop right there and then leave. That's what I'm kind of reading. Verse 3, likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before the Lord in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. They shall not be in it, they shall worship at the door of it. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto the Lord in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish. And the meat offering shall be an ephah for a ram, and the meat offering for the lambs as he shall be able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. It is probably literal. Like I said, this is probably something that they're saying that the prince has to come and do. It could also be talking about something else. What if it's about a kind of food that we should be eating? What if it's about a meal that we should be eating? What if it's about something that we should be doing to our bodies every week that we don't know? Just again, throwing that out there, just seeing what's going on. Verse 6, and in the day of the new moon, it shall be a young bullock without blemish, and 6 lambs, and a ram. They shall be without blemish. And he shall prepare a meat offering, an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs according as his hand shall attain unto, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And when the prince shall enter, he shall go in by the way of the porch of that gate, and he shall go forth by the way thereof. Verse 9. But when the people of the land shall come before the Lord in the solemn feasts, he that entereth in by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by the way of the south gate, and he that entereth by the way of the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate. He shall not return by the way of the gate whereby he came in, but shall go forth over against it. And the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth. And in the feasts and in the solemnities, the meat offering shall be an ephah to a bullock, and an ephah to a ram, and to the lambs as he is able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. Now when the prince shall prepare a voluntary burnt offering, or peace offerings voluntarily unto the Lord, one shall then open him the gate that looketh toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he did on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go forth, and after his going forth, one shall shut the gates. Therefore thou shalt daily prepare a burnt offering unto the Lord of a lamb of the first year without blemish. Thou shalt prepare it every morning, and thou shalt prepare a meat offering for it every morning, the 6th part of an ephah, and the 3rd part of an hin of oil, to temper with the fine flour, a meat offering continually by a perpetual ordinance unto the Lord. Thus shall they prepare the lamb, and the meat offering, and the oil, every morning for a continual burnt offering. There's a lot going on in there too. So back up to verse 9. But when the people of the land shall come before the Lord in the solemn feasts, he that entereth in by the way of the north gates to worship shall go out by the way of the south gates. So during the feasts, you're entering in through one gate and going out the other gate. And it says here, and he that entereth by the way of the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate. So you're not going out the way that you came in. You're always moving forward. You're not backtracking. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot in the house lately has been backtracking. Falling back into bad habits, falling back into bad relationships, falling back into bad I'm trying to think of the best word. just not falling back into that bad lifestyle. Let's try that. That you're always moving forward, that you're always picking yourself up. It's one of the things that's been going through the house a lot lately. Not so much in regards to me and my wife, but my stepdaughter, we're trying to get her to move forward. Do her best to move forward. You cannot go back to the way things were. It is time to move forward, time to lift yourself up to a better place. But that's when they come through in the solemn feast, they go through one gate and they come out at the other. That means that you have all these people filing through the court of the temple. Am I getting that right? He that go by the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate. He shall not return by the way of the gate whereby he came in, but shall go forth over against it. You are always moving forward. You will not stop and go back out the way that you came in. You will not turn back to the darkness that you left behind. You shall always be moving forward. Which has been one of those themes in the Bible that people don't talk about so much. All those times that it talks about always moving forward, going through a certain gate, going through a certain period of time, or moving through, whatever. Moving through the waters, never turning back, never looking back. Always moving forward. And for those that do turn back, they are instantly killed. They are turned to pillars of salt. They don't walk with Christ anymore. Just a bunch of different things. Your Bible is always telling you, don't ever go backwards. Always move forwards. Do not fall back into that pit of darkness and evil. That's a good lesson. That's a good lesson. Verse 10, and the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth. And in the feasts and in the solemnities, the meat offering shall be an ephah to a bullock, and an ephah to a ram, and to the lambs as he is able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And again, all of these, you have to have this, you have to have this, you have to have that, could mean something completely different. It probably means exactly what it is, but it could also mean something completely different. Verse 12, now when the prince shall prepare a voluntary burnt offering or peace offerings voluntarily unto the Lord, one shall then open him the gate that looketh toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he did on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go forth, and after his going forth, one shall shut the gate. Okay. 13. Thou shalt daily prepare a burnt offering unto the Lord of a lamb of the first year without blemish. Thou shalt prepare it every morning. Now wait, let's go back for a second here. We are talking about the feasts. We are not talking about making a burnt offering every single day. These are for the feast though, right? Thou shalt prepare a burnt offering unto the Lord of a lamb of the first year without blemish. Thou shalt prepare it every morning. It's not like they are killing a lamb every single... Well, maybe they are. Maybe that's what they ate. Because you have to remember that the priests, that was their appointed task. That's all they had. They didn't have anything else. They weren't farmers. They weren't sheep herders. They weren't cattle drivers. They had what food they got from the temple. That was their appointed task. So maybe it is. Maybe that's the lamb that they killed that they ate. Who knows? 14, and thou shalt prepare a meat offering for it every morning the 6th part of an ephah and the 3rd part of an hin of oil, to temper with the fine flour, a meat offering continually by the perpetual ordinance unto the Lord. An hin of oil to temper with the fine flour. This sounds like a recipe. Just saying. I know that people will hear that and they'll, again, it's you take the oil, you take this, you take that, you got to put a certain thing on the thing and doing the other thing too, but this also sounds like a recipe how to cook. I don't know. From this side, from where we are, on this side of time, we can look at this and we hear them talk about all these different things, these different ways of doing this stuff, and we're like, well, God was very specific about these things. He wanted us to make sure that we did this and did this and did that. At the time this was happening, what if it was something else? I mean, what if they wrote it down like this? Not intentionally being vague, but God having hid something in the context. Because God has to hide things in the context. We've talked about this one. It's been a while back. We talked about this one where God has to hide the context of specific things, because if he gave very specific instructions to every little thing, those people in power, the people in charge, could take it and they could twist it and manipulate it to their own ways. We've read that over and over and over again, where it says, not everything is the way that it is. Or you can read it over, and I don't think we've specifically read it over and over again, but you can read it over and over again. Especially whenever you start getting into, Christ and the disciples, where they start saying that things are hard to understand, and what does this mean exactly? Why is this like this? Why was this written this way? Christ says, well, it's for those that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. There's something hidden in there. I can't tell you what it is. I really don't know. But that sounds like something more than it is. Maybe this is the stuff we should start looking into next. What does this mean? Why was God so extremely specific to tell us, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that? And even then, outside of the literal, what is it? What are we supposed to do? Just throwing that out there again. I don't know. I know nothing. I know enough to get me by. There's something else to it. I know there has to be. Sorry, I just had a yawn. I know it's been a long weekend. Again, I'm not sleeping. I think Saturday night I only got 4 hours. Friday night I think I only got 5. And Thursday night I think I only got 5. Last night I actually got to sleep, and then I woke up at 3. So we are all stressed in the house. As I've said it before, that's why we have to fix whatever's going on in the house. But I'm not the only one, and I think that in some weird, crazy way, me and my stepdaughter are connected through some kind of energy. I don't know what it is. I'm feeding off of her and she's feeding off of me. I don't know what it is, but she is getting stressed, and the more she gets stressed, the more I get stressed. People can argue about that too. Well, that's not a biblical thing. That's not real. No, we are all energy. We all share energy. We all have energy fields around us. And some people are extremely attracted to other people. Not like that. Energy-wise, they are extremely attracted to other people that not only do they share the same energy, but they feed off of the same energy. There's such a thing as an energy vampire. She and I were actually talking about this. I found out about these things back in the late 90s. That, there are people that if you just stay around them too much, they will just suck your energy. They will just suck your energy dry. It's just a weird kind of thing. But at the same time, you have people that will feed each other. And we've started going down a list of the ways that we feel. It's stress, it's not eating, it's not sleeping, it's feeling nauseous all the time, feeling uptight, anxious, and not able to function properly, getting dizzy. That's the weird one. And we sat down and she described every little feeling that she had, and I was like, that's every feeling I've had for the past 2 weeks. Somehow I have absolutely connected to her, and we're destroying each other. That's what it's come down to. We're destroying each other. And I told her, I said, we need to start finding ways that we can both become positive again, because this negativity is killing us. It's absolutely killing us both. So we're going to work on it. At least we've gotten to the point to where, we can talk about it. There's another aspect of it where she has this toxicity. My wife and I talked about it. She's not the most perfect person in the world. She has this very grating toxicity about her, and it rubs some people the wrong way. Other people are just fine with it. She has a hard time making friends. I can tell you that much right now. She has a very hard time making and keeping friends, because she is attracted to certain people, and yet she pushes other people away. But I have become attracted to her toxicity because we feed off each other. And we were trying to figure it out. It's like the more I hung around, it's like the more I was drawn to it, and the more that it's like I said, it feeds off of you, and it makes you sick. And the more I pulled away, the more I felt drawn to it, to want to go back to it. And maybe that's what's happening in the house. I don't know. It's like I said, especially over the past 2 or 3 weeks, it's been like this. What does this have to do with anything? I don't know. I'm venting because I need to get it out there. I need to get it out there. Maybe somebody somewhere will know how to fix this. You never know. Maybe somebody else has gone through this and they understand, hey, maybe you just need to pull away. I don't know if I need to pull away, because every time I pull away, like I said, I get like, it's like a moth to a flame, It's like a leopard just going over a cliff. It's like you don't even know why you're doing it. And it's not like it's a physical attraction or anything. It's just like it's an energy attraction. It's like you want to be in the room with it, but it's toxic. You can't stand it. You don't want it, but it's just like it draws you in. And I don't know. We got pretty close there for a while, and talking about music and art and all the other kind of stuff, And that kind of stuff is really cool. But then, you leave and you just feel sick. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's really weird. Something got to be done about it. Where are we at? 14. Send 15. Thus shall they prepare the lamb and the meat offering and the oil every morning for a continual burnt offering. Verse 16. Thus saith the Lord God, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance. But if he give a gift of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his to the year of liberty. After it shall return to the prince, but his inheritance shall be his sons for them. Moreover, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression, to thrust them out of their possession. But he shall give his sons inheritance out of his own possession, that my people be not scattered every man from his possession. Let's go back up to 16. It's weird that we're talking about the inheritance of the prince. Thus saith the Lord God, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance. Which makes sense. Once you give a gift to your son, that's theirs. You get to keep it. But if he give a gift of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his to the year of liberty. He shall hold on to it until he is freed from his servitude. After it shall return to the prince, but his inheritance shall be his sons for them. So, I'm sure this is probably the same exact way that it was back in Egypt. If he gives the inheritance to one of his servants, well, see, even then, though, it doesn't make sense. So, Joseph pretty much became a servant to the Pharaoh. He became, whatever, second in charge. So if Pharaoh gave him the power to be able to rule like that, when Joseph died, where did it go? Because somewhere along the line, the Israelites went from being second in charge to being nobodies. The Egyptians kind of flipped on that one hard. So I would think that they had the same kind of understandings. Once you can give it over to a servant, but when that servant dies, it comes back and they take it over. So it sounds like it could be the same thing. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that that's the first thing that pops into my head. And, I like to talk about anything that pops in my head because you never know if anything that pops in your head is something that was given to you by God so that you could use it to maybe explain these things. Maybe it is what it is, maybe it isn't. It's 18. Moreover, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression, to thrust them out of their possession, but he shall give his sons inheritance out of his own possession, that my people be not scattered every man from his possession. That right there, that rule, commandments, whatever you want to call it, of God, where the prince shall not take the people's inheritance by oppression, has been broken so many times over the past 200-something years. You are having your inheritance taken by oppression every single day because of evil people in charge. Those evil people in charge that are in power, that hold you in debt through usury, and then take even more debt from you through oppression, through taxes, through whatever else, however else they take it from you. So that when you eventually get to a point to where you can settle down after you've worked your entire life, you have nothing. You will die with nothing. And when you die, the government takes an inheritance tax. They will take even more from you so that you have nothing. Your children will have nothing after you leave. There's nothing there. I'm going through that right now. My mother died. I am going to be surprised if I get anything out of this. I haven't even talked about taxes. We're still trying to go through the process of getting her property sold. And the only thing I can think of is what's going to happen next year, next April, whenever I'm going to have to claim, whatever I get. I mean, how much money am I going to have to throw out on taxes? It sucks. How much taxes are going to be taken when I do get things sold? Hell, I'm worried about if I have to file my mom's taxes. My mom hasn't filed taxes in 4 years. She hasn't. She was alive for 3 of those years. How the hell do I do that? What do I do here? Anyways, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression. And yet, like I said, that is exactly what's happening right now. Where are we at? 19. 19 will go until 24, and that'll finish it out. 19. After he brought me through the entry, which was at the side of the gate, into the holy chambers of the priests, which looked toward the north, and behold, there was a place on the 2 sides westward. Then said he unto me, This is the place where the priests shall boil the trespass offering, and the sin offering, where they shall bake the meat offering, that they bear them not out into the utter court to sanctify the people. Then he brought me forth into the utter court, which is outer court. Then he brought me forth into the utter court, and caused me to pass by the 4 corners of the court. And behold, in every corner of the court there was a court. In the 4 corners of the court there were courts joined of 40 cubits long and 30 broad. These 4 corners were of one measure. And there was a row of building, round about them 4, and it was made with boiling places under the rows round about. Then said he unto me, These are the places of them that boil, where the ministers of the house shall boil the sacrifice of the people. Alright, let's go back to 19. After he brought me through the entry, which was at the side of the gates, into the holy chambers of the priests, which looked toward the north, and behold, there was a place on the 2 sides westward. Again, this could be a description of something inside of the body, for all we know. It's a literal description of something, yes, but it could also be a description of something inside of your body. It could be talking about anything. Could be talking about anything. Verse 20, Then said he unto me, This is the place where the priests shall boil the trespass offering. I want to make sure that word is what it is. 20, because if boil is just cooked, to boil, cook, bake, roast, ripen, grow ripe. To boil or cook. So this could also be cook. Then he said unto me, This is the place where the priest shall boil or cook the trespass offering and the sin offering, where they shall bake the meat offering, that they bear them not out into the utter court to sanctify the people. Because you have to remember that the priests are not able to go out into the people, because they'd have to change all their clothes out. So this is where they go to boil or cook the offerings. I think that's what I'm pulling out of this. 21. Then he brought me forth into the utter court, caused me to pass by the 4 corners of the court. And behold, in every corner of the court there was a court. In every corner of the court there was a court. Sure, why not? 22. In the 4 corners of the court there were courts joined of 40 cubits long, and 30 broad. These 4 corners were of one measure. And there was a row of building, it doesn't say buildings, there was a row of building round about them. And of course, building is in italics. So that was something that was added into the King James in order to help the sentences flow. And there was a row of building round about in them, round about them 4. And it was made with boiling places under the rows round about. Then said he unto me, These are the places of them that boil, where the ministers of house shall boil the sacrifice of the people, that they shall cook the sacrifices of the people. Alright. That's pretty much that. Again, it's Ezekiel started so strong. And then it just started fading out. Now, there's teaching in here, I'm sure. I mean, we can... Sorry, I had another yawn. We can pull little tidbits here and there, and we can speculate what some of this means and what some of it doesn't mean. But... it is very descriptive, something that they would have had to have followed back in the day, something that we don't entirely understand. But it's in the Bible for a reason. What's that reason? I don't know. But it's in there. So we're reading it. I mean, I could have very easily stopped at Ezekiel 40 and then just jumped all the way to something else. But no, we said we're going to read the whole book. You got to read every little bit of it to find out whatever it is you need to find out. So with that being said, I'm going to stop. Man, it's a Monday. I am just not prepared for today. I can go back and talk about the toxicity of people. I've known people like that all my life. That you just become attracted to it. It's like a drug. It is. You get addicted to it. That's it's some kind of just energy, and she's not exactly. I've said it before. She's not exactly the most righteous person in the world. I've had to pull myself back several times because, I hope I'm not being drawn to her unrighteousness. That's possible. Hell, that could be very possible. I know I can tell you this much, is that a lot of things in this house will be fixed when we finally move her back out. We've set a date on her. We've said, look, you've got to be out of this house within, X amount of months. I keep trying to push it forward more so that sooner and sooner. But it's just been, it's been, some days are nightmare inducing. I'll admit that. It needs to stop. And I hate saying that about people, I really do. But it's like I said, some people just, it's like that. She's been listening to me. I've talked about, she's been hearing me say, tell certain stories, plant certain seeds and all that. I get that. And she's improved. She's improved her life so much. I am glad that she is making new steps to improving her life from the way it used to be. But at the same time, she's taking a couple steps backwards. And it's like we said with the going in through one gate and making sure that you don't go back out that gate. You have to go all the way through the temple. You have to push all the way through. Don't ever go back out the door that you came in. Push all the way through. Don't ever turn around and go back to the way it was. We've had this talk a lot over the past week because there are things that are drawing her back. And we've said, no. You can't do that. You've made so much progress. And there's things that we could all work on too. That's like I said, I'm just as guilty of it as well. There are things that I have turned back towards that I am, every day I look at and I say, ugh, this is so bad. So I guess if the best teaching we can get out of this chapter today would have to be that you go in through one gate and come out the other. Do not turn around and go back to the place you were. Going through the temple on that Sabbath day, giving your sacrifices to the priests, was a cleansing ritual. You were being cleansed spiritually. So, if you were to turn back, everything that they did for you would be worthless. Something to keep in mind. It smells like a campfire. It's too early for people to be burning a campfire, but yeah, it smells like campfire. I don't know. Oh, like I said, we live out kind of separated from the big cities. Somebody's burning a campfire at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Somebody's burning a campfire. Huh, it's weird. Alright. I will talk to everyone later. God bless all of you. Take care of yourselves. Yeah, we're still good. Alright. You guys take care of yourselves. It's like don't ever turn back. If you're moving forward, if God is saving you from Gomorrah, tells you don't look back. Keep moving forward. Just run for it. Go towards salvation. Can you imagine if Noah would have turned back? You know, somewhere within those 120 years, he was just kind of like, you know what? I ain't gonna worry about the boat. You know, we're gonna go back to the lifestyle. You know, follow what these people are doing. It's that John 66 verse 6. It's that same thing. And they turned from him, and they did not walk with him ever again. It's that same thing. Stay on the path. That righteous, narrow path. That's not a broad way, it's a narrow path. Stay on that path. Do not falter. Do not turn around. If you turn around, you will fall off. If you step to the side, you will fall off. Always try to stay on it. Alright. Well, that's enough. I will talk to y'all later. God bless everyone. Take care of yourselves. I will talk to you tomorrow. We will hit Ezekiel 47. And then Wednesday, we will hit Ezekiel 48. And then I'm taking a break. It's like I said, I may or may not come in. If something pops up, I might talk about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Alright, I shall talk to y'all later. God bless.